Alright, how's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you guys 4 tips that I use to put on over 100 pounds on my bench. Alright, tip number 1 is going to be a good warm-up, but more importantly is going to be warming up our accessories. So we're going to warm up our back, we're going to warm up our shoulders, and we'll warm up our chest a little bit. So I usually start with a band, just get your shoulders warmed up, loosen them up. Alright, my next one I'll usually do is I'll grab a dumbbell and I'll just kind of open up my shoulders. When I do this, I can feel my chest working a little bit too here, but I'm just kind of primarily trying to open up my shoulders, loosen up everything. All right, now that our shoulders are warmed up, our chest is a little loose, we're going to focus on now is warming up our back. I usually do a couple pull downs, maybe do a couple pull-ups. Just trying to activate your lats and your upper back, because when you brace, you're going to pinch your shoulder blades together, and you're going to brace on your lats on the bench. So you want to have your lats nice and warmed up, so when you brace on the bench, you have full control over your back. So I'll just usually do a couple sets of lat pull downs, doesn't have to be anything heavy. Just trying to focus on squeezing my lats and getting them warmed up. All right, now that we're nice and warmed up, it's going to take us to number 2. Number 2 is going to be getting good leg drive. So when we bench and we're focusing on lifting heavier weight, instead of focusing on trying to build our chest, we're trying to build our strength, we're going to want to use full body. So when I say leg drive, when you get set up in the bench, I think we've all seen the people who bench with their feet up on the bench. That's not really doing you any good. So typically when I get set up, I want the bar to be about around my forehead. So when I approach the bench, I'll go past around my chest, and I'll get my legs set. And once I have my legs set, I usually stand on my toes. I can feel tension in my quads. I'll arrange my grip. I'll slide forward, brace my back, and then slide up on the bench until the bar is right where I want it. Right now I can feel the most tension in my quads and my upper back. Using good leg drive is going to really be able to help increase your numbers. Obviously bench is primarily on your chest, but it's a full body workout. So typically, when I'm going for my real heavy sets or trying to push for a PR, my quads will feel tired after a good day of benching. So tip number 2 is good leg drive. All right, tip number 3 is going to be hand placement. And when I mean hand placement, I mean where you're going to place it on the bar, okay? So when you set up, if your hands are further out, it's going to lower your range of motion, but it's going to put more on your chest. For me, I prefer to have a little bit more of a narrow grip. I'm pretty tricep dominant when it comes to benching for me. So my one caveat with having a closer grip is you're going to feel a little bit more tension in your elbows on your heavier sets. So I typically try to have a wider grip when I'm going for my warm-up sets, and then once I go for a heavy set, or if I'm going to go for a PR, I'll go on a more narrow grip, and I'll show you guys here in a second. Alright, so we went over a good warm-up, getting the back nice and loose. We went over getting good leg drive to help with the bench, and we talked about hand placement and finding out which works best for us. My number 4 tip is going to be to just push more weight. Obviously, easier said than done, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to focus on progressive overload. And if you don't know what that means, it's essentially you're going to be adding weight progressively over time. So, at least for me, I know a lot of lifters have the same thing. You get stuck at like 185. You're stuck at 185, and that's your working sets, and maybe you can push 205 for 1 or 2 or 225 for 1 or 2, and you're just stuck, and it's hard to go past that wall. But what you just have to do is you have to just force yourself to push more weight. Instead of constantly doing the same lifts that you do and keep doing what feels comfortable with you, you have to push yourself a little bit. You either need to find a good spotter. Otherwise, for me, these safety bars work really well. It doesn't affect my pressing motion as I come down, but if I need to rack it, I can safely rack it above me without having to worry. With a lot of commercial gyms, you have to look out for the safety bars, because as you come down, you might hit one side and it's going to throw your whole lift off, or some benches don't have safety bars. So if you have to just ask someone to spot you, you got to ask someone to spot you, or go in the squat rack and figure out something that works good for you. But you're not going to be able to add more weight to your bench unless you just add more weight to your bench. So even if it's starting small, let's say you're stuck at 185, work up to 185, do a set of 205, maybe 2 sets of 205, and then go back to 185 and finish your workout there. And we know with the more weight, and we're looking to do, when we're looking to increase our strength, we want to focus more on our rep range of 3 to 4. Sometimes I'll do like a 5x5 depending on what it is, but definitely going to want to increase our weight. You can't get stronger without increasing the weight. So that's step number 4, is just got to increase the weight. For the longest time I was stuck at 225, and then eventually I just, you add a 10-pound on each side. It's going to feel heavy, but you just push through that, and then as you go, all of a sudden your numbers will just start jumping. Before you know it, you'll be warming up with 225, and you'll be doing working sets of 255, and you just go up from there. So step number 4 is going to be add more weight. All right, those are my 4 tips. Let's put it into use. So I'll take you through my typical chest day. You already saw me get warmed up. So typically what I'll do is I always like to just start with just the bar, and then I'll go to 1 plate, and then we'll go from there, see how I feel. If it's feeling a little heavy on 1 plate, or I'm feeling a little sluggish, I'll go up to 185. Otherwise, if I'm feeling pretty good, I'll just jump straight to 225. So let's get after it. All right, first warm-up set felt pretty light. It's been a little bit since I've lifted, feeling a little sore, so I'll probably just work to 185, and then we'll go from there, see how it's feeling. All right, it's time for our second warm-up set. Like I said, feeling a little sluggish, so we'll do 185. One thing you want to just keep in mind too is not to slack off on your warm-up sets. Like you're warming up for your heavy lifts, so I always take the same approach for my warm-up sets. Doesn't matter if it's 1 plate, doesn't matter if it's a bar. I'm always going to set my legs. I'm going to always set my back, get my hands good, take good breaths. For me, I like to settle it. I'll take a big air, and then I'll go down. And as I'm going up, I let the air out. So just big braces. Train the way you fight, warm up the way that you're going to lift. So let's get after it. All right, like I said, I'm gonna slide up to where my chest is. I'm gonna set my feet, find my hand placement. I'm gonna come out, brace my back, slide into position. Bar is like right around my eye height. Press up, let the weight settle, take a big air, brace, and then press. When we're coming down, I usually aim for my nipple line, or maybe just a little bit below my nipple line. And there we go. So we'll go up from there now. All right, this is probably gonna be my last warm-up set here. Got 225 on the bar. Change the camera angle a little bit here just so you can kind of see the leg drive and then see the bar path that I'm talking about. So when I unrack, it's gonna be a little bit higher than where I'm gonna press, and I'm gonna slide it forward. and then I'll go from there. I'll kind of show you too how the safety bars are set up for me on this. So towards the last set, I'll just show as if I had a bailout on a set, and then I'll just press it up to rack it. But like I said, this will probably be my last warm-up set. From here, I'm just gonna kind of gauge what I'm feeling. So I'm just gonna go up to 225 maybe, or 265, 275 in that range to do my working set. Today I'm probably gonna do either a 3x3 or a 3x4. We'll figure it out here. So like I said, just pay attention. All right, like I said, just focus on my leg drive here as I set up for my legs, and then focus on the bar path, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about with the safety bars. So the way these are set up, it's perfect for without a spotter. I have no issues trying to go for a PR without a spotter because I know that the bars are at a perfect height for me. So. Now I'll show you what I'm talking about with these bars. So as you can see, around where I go down on my chest, it touches me. But then if I just slide forward, even with my back brace, my legs braced, I can still safely put the bar on the, I can still put safely. So as you can see, over my chest, it doesn't affect my pressing motion. But when I go to set it down, I can safely put it on the bars and not have to worry about anything, even with my legs still engaged. All right, gonna hit another set of 245, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Maybe we'll work up to 275 in the next set. Kind of limited by, home gym, so I don't have another 10 to throw on to counterbalance it, so just gotta go up and deal with it. So, all right, let's hit this set. I've got 275 on the bar. See how it feels. Hoping to get around, let's say 2 reps hopefully. 2 to 3 would be ideal. If we can get 2 to 3, we'll probably jump up to 315 for heavy single, and then we'll work our way down. All right, like I said, kind of limited by our home gym, the weights that we got here, so can't do 315, so I'm just gonna go for 325, see how this goes here. Aiming for 1, if I can get 2, that'd be great. All right, well, just like I said, in tip number 4, you gotta push yourself. Felt pretty heavy on racking it, felt really heavy in the hands. If I was at a commercial gym that didn't have safety bars or I didn't have a spotter, probably wouldn't have tried that rep, but I trust in these safety bars. So even though it was heavy, you just gotta keep that mindset of we're gonna get it and just go for it. If you don't get it, hey, you're still getting the reps in, okay? So right there, living proof of using these tips and it works for you. All right, got the weight off, got it down to 135 here. Usually I'll work down a few of those. I already got all the weight off, got the bar down to 135. Usually I like to work my way down. I'll do a set of 225, and then I'll do a set of 135, but I'm feeling a little lazy. So we'll just hit a set of 135 here. Instead of focusing on the strength aspect of the benching and focusing on getting getting a higher weight, lower rep, I'm gonna really focus on isolating the chest, not using as much of my back and not using as much leg drive. Trying to make it as hard as I can on my chest, just to really focus on the pump, kind of the more bodybuilding aspect here. I usually just like to chase a pump at the end, you know. No one likes to bench and not get a nice pump. So chase a pump at the end here, and then we'll do something else. All right, now we're just gonna focus on some accessory work, focus on the upper chest a little bit. I kind of have bad shoulders and bad elbows, so incline bench doesn't really work too great for my shoulders and elbows. So I'm gonna do a little variation here of like a 2 a.m. press. Home gym, I don't have a T-bar or T-bar setup, but I do have, just got a little tennis ball, and you can just cut it, slides right on the bar perfectly. That way you can just slide it up to a wall. So we'll get this on here. It's almost like it was made for it. All right, like I said, just got the tennis ball on the end here. And then just start with the plate. Just go down to our knees here. I like to brace up and kind of lean into it. And then we're just gonna focus on our upper chest as we press forward. I like to focus on stuff like this after we get the chest already worked. With the flat bench, here we have our chest pump. It's a lot easier to feel it in our chest, focus on our chest, use less of our shoulders. It's inevitable that you're going to use your shoulders a little bit, your triceps obviously, but now that the chest is worked, we can really focus on squeezing with the chest. And we're not looking to build as much strength per se here, as more this is just kind of size focused. So we can do lighter weight, higher reps, really focus on the contraction, squeezing at the top. All right, get the last set, move on to some triceps and shoulders. All right, with that said, I did 20. First 10, wasn't really feeling it, and then really focus on trying to squeeze my elbows together, and you can really feel it then. So with these, I mean, just focus on trying to squeeze your elbows together, and it'll really contract your chest. So I got a pretty good upper chest pump, pretty good mid and lower chest. So now we're just focused on some tricep extensions and do a little bit of lateral raises. All right, gonna finish out this workout. We'll do a little bit of tricep pull downs. I'll superset it with some lateral raises. Again, limited by home gym, so I just got a 20-pound dumbbell that I'll just go nice slow reps, really focusing on the contraction, trying to make it as hard as I can. We'll see how it feels. Probably do 10 to 12 reps with that. Focus on 8 quality reps with the tricep extensions. When you're focusing on the size aspect of weightlifting, you really want to focus on contractions. So as you get to the bottom, really focusing on squeezing your triceps and utilizing the muscle that you want. Your body's natural tendency is going to be to try and make it as easy as possible. And by that, you know, you can lean really far forward and kind of use your whole body and work that way. You know, like you think about like the CrossFit pull-ups, right, where you're kipping, you know, you're using your bodies, you know, you're naturally trying to make it easier. Versus if you do strict pull-ups, you're gonna really isolate the lats, really isolate biceps. Same with the tricep extensions. We're gonna try to stand up straight, and as we go down, we're gonna really try to squeeze, trying to avoid hunching over and using overweight. Obviously, as you get towards the end, you gotta do what you gotta do to get those reps, you know? So, probably do 3 sets of this, see how it feels. All right, go right into our lateral raises. These lateral raises, we're just focused on breathing, focus on just feeling the sides of our shoulders here, and just really focusing on just feeling that isolation. Usually I do like a 25 on each. I like to do both at the same time, kind of hunched over a bench. But the home gym, we're just kind of lean up on this, come a little forward, and then nice and slow as we go up, really focus on feeling the burn. So. With those two, I'm not going directly out to my side, I'm kind of going up at a little bit of an angle. I notice when I go directly to my side, I don't get as much of a pump, as much of a burn. So if I go up at a like slightly angle, not fully 45 degrees, but around there, feel a little bit more. So. Into it. All right, I can definitely notice it's a little bit harder on my left side than my right, so I'll probably do 2 extra reps on my left, then my right, just try to even out, make sure I'm training equally. All right, last set here, finish strong, do a little bit of core, and we'll call it a day. All right, last set's done. We'll do a little bit of core. We'll call it a day. Maybe check on the pump status here. All right, we'll check on the pump here. If you haven't seen in my earlier videos, I'm working on cutting. I'm like 230 right now. Maybe gonna get down to 190 to 200. So just keep little updates on the physique. Obviously, you know, a little bit more fluff than I'd like, but we're working on it. All right, so. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope that some of you guys can take away something from these 4 tips that I gave you here. Before you go, I just want to pray for you real quick. Father God, I just pray asking you that you allow this video to reach those who could use it and benefit from it. God, I pray that you allow each person to watch this video to grow closer to you in their faith. And I just pray, thank you for the opportunity to reach those and spread your word, God. And yeah, in your name I pray. Amen. All right, thanks.